Is that you? It has to be, yeah, 'cause you're so close.
Is that better? Okay.
You don't even know the
No, that's what it is.
That's good. I guess you have it on
I thought I had it muted.
Oh, you have multiple things going.
I think you're right.
Okay. But I can hear the.
That's you.
Baby, I can't even. Baby. I don't know how to use that phone.
You guys should all be over here where we can see you.
Yeah. We can move that if we need to. But okay, good morning everyone and welcome to our first Rockstar Re-Connect event after the past year of taking a little bit of a hiatus. So I'm happy to welcome my dear friend Teresa Fackler, who's going to speak to us about how to pack a punch in your social media for business. So we have a small group here. We're at the Candy Factory. We're so happy that they were able to sponsor today's event, and we're definitely looking at having some more of these success seminars here at the Candy Factory. And the Candy Factory is a co-working space located right downtown in Lancaster. And they also have social clubs. It's not just for working. There's a lot of new groups and programs that are here. So definitely go to candyisweet.com. Check out details about the Candy Factory. You can also find them on Facebook at the Candy Factory. So Teresa, let's start things off. Give us a little bit of a background of you, who you are, what you do, and why we're talking about social media today.
We're talking about social media because I love social media.
Right.
So a little background about me. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Chuck and Janet, for asking me to do this. Even though at first I was like, well, I'm not a professional, so this is just what I do and how I built my businesses. A little bit about me, though. I worked at Donnelly Printing for 28 years and left there to actually do something that I loved. Loved my job, but it wasn't fulfilling. So went into a little bit of nutrition and then into fitness. And specifically boxing fitness. I fell in love with that, became an instructor for many years at some local gyms, and then decided to go back to boxing because that's where my heart was. And I wanted to introduce everybody to boxing fitness because it is for everybody. It's not just for those who want to fight. Right. So you can ask these guys. These guys come to us.
Yeah, she definitely puts us through the ringer every week.
Don't listen to them, just come. So I realized early on that I didn't really know anybody in Lancaster because I had worked at Donnelly Printing for 28 years. And I was a mom. I was kind of stay at home and work. And I really didn't do much of anything else other than in my 20s when I was out dancing all the time. But so I knew that I had to get a broader reach if I wanted to impact more people's lives. So social media and networking were that.
Right.
And social media was the easiest one for me to get started because I could kind of hide behind my computer. So, and then networking, just amplified that. And social media became fun. Social media allowed me to be me which in a social setting, I'm a big extrovert, but in a social setting, I can be almost introverted. So it allowed me to really show people who I am, what I'm about, and show off the fitness part of things as well, and how much I love that. Plus, a little thing about social media in my family is my husband and I, we dated in high school. We were each other's first loves, and we separated for 24 years. And he reached out to me on social media about 12 years ago, and he just said, "Do you remember a guy named Chuck Fackler?" And I was like, "What?" Like, of course I do. So in a way, social media brought my husband and I back together after all those years. And so I have a special place in my heart for Facebook specifically.
Very cool. Very cool. So you started your business, right? And I remember the first Rockstar Connect event that you came to, Wallflower Extraordinaire, right? But once you were able to get started, right, and having some of that networking, how does that relate back and forth to social media, right? So were you able to see people that you already knew at that particular event? Did that make it maybe easier from a networking perspective?
Yes, that particular one on the rooftop, I was still super wallflower, like super wallflower. But yes, so you start seeing people that you see online, and or if somebody comes up to you and they're like, "I know you, I see you online. You're that fitness girl, or you're that boxing girl," kind of thing, and it kind of breaks or broke the conversation, broke the ice a little bit. So yeah, that was good. So kind of network and social media is just a big networking, and that's literally how it was started. It was for, I think it was college students so that they can connect for parties and for get-togethers and all that kind of stuff. So social media is a big networking hub, and that's one thing that I absolutely love about it.
Yeah, and I think back in the day, right, 10, 15 years ago, they called it social networking before they changed it to social media. Don't quote me on that, but that's at least, till the media got a hold of it and it actually truly became a media platform, which I think is also going to be part of what we talk about today as well.
Yes.
So,
yes. So as far as what I do, I always have one big question for business owners specifically. Are you using social media for your business as well as your personal feed as it is? And if somebody says, "No, not really, I don't really like social media," I'm like, why? You are missing out on the biggest free marketing tool that you have. Years ago, how did we do marketing years ago? Years ago, we put ads in the newspaper, in the telephone books. Are you guys, any of you old enough to remember that?
Yeah.
In flyers, there's flyers hung all over. We still do that kind of thing, but that kind of stuff isn't done as much now. As you know, print has, a lot of print has gone away. People don't really look at print all that much anymore. Everything's in email, social media, all even on Google and all the platforms, even, all those ads all over the place. So you have to market yourself on social media as well, because literally that is like the biggest thing. The biggest thing.
Yeah. So we talk a little bit about business and marketing, but then also the personal profile. Many people ask the question, because I think as Facebook specifically has evolved, right? At early on when they started business pages, it was great because you had a lot of organic reach, and now it's very much a pay to play type scenario when it comes to your business profile. So how do you balance your business page compared to your personal profile?
So I personally think that your personal profile is just as important, if not more important, than your business profile. And some of you might disagree with me, and that's okay. But here's why. People come to you for your business a couple different ways. Referral marketing, which is what we all love. That's what we all want. But then people come to you because they know, love, and trust you, or nowadays know, like, and trust you. And the biggest, easiest way for people to get to know, like, and trust you is your social media. What's the first thing you do if somebody refers or says, "Hey, I know a roofer. You're looking for a roofer. I know a roofer. What's the first thing you do?
You're gonna check out their Facebook profile.
Yeah, Facebook, Google, maybe not Instagram quite so much with that kind of business, but you're going to go online and you're going to look. So why not put yourself on there? So let's say that you're having something done inside your house, renovating wise. If you see somebody online that has nothing on their personal feed, or a lot of negative or a lot of opinionated stuff on their personal feed, and a lot of, maybe I'm going to step on toes here and I'm really sorry.
That's okay.
No, I'm not. A lot of things, like if this person's always going out drinking and always doing this and always doing that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with going out or anything, but your profile also comes into play in your business. Even if you think that it's two different things. Well, this is me, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, but this is my business and I'm really good. People are judging you. It doesn't matter what you do, what you don't do. People are judging you all the time. So you want them to know who you are. So like on my personal Facebook page, I have the 6 F's, right? I have family, and everything on my personal Facebook page falls under this bucket because this is who I am. I have faith, family, friends, fun, fitness, and Finspo. And it's just
Finspo.
Finspo is, I needed another F. I had to stay with the F. So it's inspiration. So I had to stay with the F. So I made up my own word. So it's Finspo. But everything falls under those buckets, no matter what it is. I learned very early on, choose your buckets and of who you are. And then you have an infinite amount of things to post about at that. And it's just who you are. Show people who you are. Show people the funny side of you. Even if it's stupid funny, people love to laugh. We need so much more of that in our lives to begin with. But and that translates over into your business. So then, when people are looking at your business page, they're going to go to your personal page and they're going to judge what kind of business owner you are, how you treat your clients by that.
Right.
I mean, it's sad, but that is just the way that it is.
Right. So it sounds like, you said 6 F's?
Yeah.
Yep. So with the 6 F's, I mean, that can encompass a lot of activities, a lot of different.
Oh yeah.
So now it begs the question, maybe for someone who's not super active or posting a lot of content onto social media, it may say, well, that sounds like a lot of work, right? So how do you handle, right, the actual execution, right? I think it's easy to visualize and say, okay, yeah, I could do this, and I'm guilty of this for sure, of saying, well, there's all these great things I can do, but how do you plan it, implement it, so that way that's not all you do? You
start small.
Okay.
You start with one post. You start with one thing, one a day. And that's what I did years ago. I was going through a huge growth process and reading a ton and just going through my own growth process. And I legit shared it online, but I didn't share it as in, look, this is what I learned today. I just shared it as what was coming to me. So I did that every single morning. And the following that I got from that was crazy. I would get little messages saying, oh my gosh, that touched me this morning. I don't ever like or comment on your stuff, but thank you for that. I needed that today. So for me, it was inspiration. For me, it was just growth. It was what I was learning. And it just turned into little by little, more and more. And some days are more than others. Some days, are hardly anything, especially with stories now. That's like the best thing since sliced bread to me. But my advice is to start small. Start with one post a day. You know what? Your faith is the most important thing. Post about that. Your family is the most important thing. Post about that. You go to the virtual lounge with your children. Take a picture or a short video about that and put that on so people can start to get to know you.
Right.
Start small. I've been doing this for years. So it has just been a continual build for the last, I'd say, 6 years.
I guess you probably create a habit,
right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just part of who you are and what you do at this point.
Yeah. And humans are curious by nature. That's why Real Housewives and the reality shows are still so popular. People are curious about other people, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, you know, I don't want to say playing on that and utilizing it, but if you're a business owner, play on it, utilize it for your business.
Yeah, and you talked about it before. You mentioned about how people are judging, right? I mean, that's a function of the human condition, right? That we are looking for what's the right and what's the wrong about each person, each scenario, each, you know, we're constantly judging.
And do I like this person?
Right.
Yeah.
And you do it subconsciously, which is rather important to understand that. Okay, if you're posting, another good point that you brought up is, you may not get as many likes. You may not get as many comments from people that are, you know, seeing your posts in their feed. They may not just go ahead and click on that. So it's easy to fall into the trap to say, well, nobody's watching. Nobody's paying attention. It's not doing anything for me. So have you found that, you know, you use that example of, well, I don't normally, but that really touched me today. Do you find that still happens on a regular basis?
Oh,
that
yeah.
People are watching, but not, you don't know it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People are watching. And it's a consistency thing. The more consistent you are, people continue to come back. Like I said, we're as all the human, not just humans, but even the animal world. They're curious. You see cats, they're like, you know, and dogs and all animals, they're curious. So, you know, it's no different with humans, just we have a little bit more intellectually. So yes, it's just consistency. People will come, but you have to be consistent or you won't show up. Unfortunately, there's this big thing called the algorithms that change constantly.
Yep.
So if you don't show up, you're not showing up on other people's feed. So yeah. Also reaching out to other people. So social media, it's social. So it's not just about me. It's not just about you. It is about spending the time to go to other people's pages, and from a business standpoint, to other people's pages that you want to do business with. I would love to do business with that person. I would love to do business with that person. I'd love to do business with that company. Get involved. They want you, Facebook specifically, and Instagram, they want you to be involved. They want you to be social, and it's a networking hub. So be involved in other people as well. Be interested as well as being interesting.
Right. So in those 6 F's, right, you want to talk about business, right? Even if you're on your personal profile, whether it's, do you take posts that you put on your business page and then share them over to your personal profile to maybe get some visibility and still give you that personal and business separation? Or what kind of approach do you take when you're going to talk more about business into your personal profile?
So some people will tell you, don't share your business onto your personal page, and vice versa. And I'm going to tell you, share across the line. Now I don't do it all the time where I share a post from my from Envision to my personal page, but if I'm talking about fitness, a lot of times I will tag Envision on there, or I'll say checked in at Envision Train. But yes, I'll share from my page as well. There's no shame in that game of, you know, of putting yourself out there. That's the whole point, you know, of marketing that we want to do. Yeah. And using your stories. There's, if you are on Envision Train and on my page, there's a lot of days that you're going to see some of the same posts. So I'll put up stuff from the gym and stuff from my social selling in my own stories. And I'll put up the same stuff from the gym over into the Envision Train because they do have some different audiences. And a lot of times people go, well, what's that? They'll tag on, and always tag your location or tag your business page. Even in your stories, because people will click on that.
Yeah, for sure. Now you mentioned before that you love stories, and you know, compliments to you. You do very, very well from a story perspective, but maybe not everybody fully understands the difference between, you know, your news feed and stories. What is the story game?
The story game. The story game is a little bit of everything. So the story game is your everyday life. So Instagram, Facebook, we all want to put those beautiful pictures up there. We all want to, put these posts that attract people that get to, to read them and everything. Stories is everyday life. Stories is, and there's a lot of people now posting a lot more inspiration, even just quotes, which we used to put on our walls, on our Facebook walls, all the time. But stories is everyday life, every day, and you can put anything and everything, and you can look a hot mess. And it doesn't matter because, because it's relatable. Because, oh, she does look like a hot mess. She doesn't always look, done up. Or stuff with your kids. You can celebrate your team in there. People love to see that. You can celebrate your wins. You can celebrate your losses. You can celebrate that you stood outside the candy factory this morning and said, I don't know if I'm qualified to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, which if you go to my stories today, you're going to see that. When they asked me to do it, I didn't think, I'm not a professional. I'm not confident, enough to do this, but so you can see all that stuff, and it's relatable, and people get, again, it's another way for people to get to know you, to love you or like you, and to trust you. Plus, again, people are curious. They love seeing all that stuff. They love seeing what's in your house. I do. I'll literally look at some things and I'll stop, I'll hold it, and I'll go, what's in the background, kind of thing. I mean, it's just, I'm curious too.
And what's interesting, one fact about stories compared to a post that you put onto your personal profile is that you have the opportunity to see who has at least had that story show up in front of them. Maybe they didn't spend the whole time. You don't know exactly how much of it they watched, but usually people just watch it on a loop. I mean, because it has a short time of what, 15, 30 seconds or?
Facebook is 26 seconds and Instagram's 15.
Okay, so it's a very short amount of time, and people can just let that play, and they can see the next story, and then it goes from person to person to person. And I think that's why a lot of people are like, oh my goodness, I fell into social media and I looked up and 2 hours went by, because it has these type of features to it that your audience has access to. So if you're able to put yourself in front of the people that are on social media, stories is a very good way to do that on the regular. Now, can somebody go back and see the full history of all your stories? Or
No, you can. You can go into the archive under your own account settings and that, and you can go back and look. So if you had a poll on your stories, again, social media is supposed to be social. Put the polls on, ask the questions. If nobody's clicking on the polls, put the polls on, ask the questions. Keep doing it because Facebook loves that. Facebook loves that stuff, and Instagram. They want you to do that. And sooner or later, people will start clicking on it. People will start, as long as you're interesting, even if you're a hot mess. So.
Yeah. And now with the multitude of different platforms that we have out there, I mean, there's TikTok, which is a video-based platform that gives you the ability to be that much more creative, gives you a longer length of time to be able to. I think it's 56 seconds. But then you've got Facebook, you've got Instagram, and even I believe that LinkedIn also is slowly catching up with these types of things. I'm not a LinkedIn expert. I get the notifications and I keep swiping those away. I might as well just turn them off because I'm really not paying attention. But especially this time of year, it's difficult for me to be, to fall in and spend a lot of time with social media because I'm out doing a lot of different things, right? You talked about renovations. We've got a lot of renovations, going on.
Yeah.
So that's one aspect that, as long as you're consistent, people that in your audience that are watching or paying attention, they may not see your post if it's one every 2 weeks, right? So you want to be able to be there in front of people. So we talked about, sharing a lot of different things for people to grow that know, like, and trust factor for you. How about selling, right? I mean, what types of selling approaches work well when it comes to social media?
So some of that is dependent on your business.
Mm.
I mean, let's be honest. Another thing is call to actions.
Mm.
So if you follow Envision Train, you'll start to see almost at the end of almost every post, click the link in bio, which is on Instagram, for more information. Click this link to get signed up for your free class. Check us out on our website. Are you ready to sign up for your free class? So a call to action, and you can even work this into your personal posts too, even with simple questions. Can you relate to this? And then, or maybe you can relate to this with a question mark, and then make your post. But I'm not going to say that I have a call to action in every single one of my posts, because I don't. It's an evolving thing. I'm still learning, and sometimes I'm like, how do people get sick of me asking, how do you feel about this? Leave me a message, leave me a comment, this and that. So I fall into that too sometimes. But call to action, because sooner or later that person, you can put the best post up in the world, and you got no closing, you're not trying to close the sale. So if you're teaching somebody something, great, I'm going to go do that. Instead of saying, sign up for your free estimate, or let us come take a look at your roof, or, things like that. So always having a call to action in there is gonna pull that in. The polls in the story. So I do social selling as well. And so in my stories, I'm like, are you ready to get started? And then your polls both of them should be positive. Neither one of them should be yes or no. Don't do that. You can click on that baby and you can change it. You only got a little bit of space to use, but yes, I'm ready yes, I'm ready, girl, or send me info. It's always something positive, always something that's going to lead back to your business. And they're not always going to be clicked on, but keep going, keep doing it. I want to touch on something.
Okay.
You said that you don't really have time right now. So, if I were to tell you that by spending an hour a day intentionally on your social media, not the scroll hole, intentionally on your social media, an hour a day, whether that is an hour or whether that's 7 hours one day that you batch content and schedule, or if it's an hour a day and you treat that as part of your marketing, as part of, this is what I do. And your sales or your looks or your likes or your calls or your texts, hey, can you guys help me? Do you have time? I'm looking for this. If they go up by 50%, does that 1 hour a day make sense then in your business?
Oh, for sure.
So my thing is trying to educate people on how important your social media is. It's not social media for me. While it's still fun, while I love to share, while it's still social and all that, but social media is business. My personal page and my business page. It is something that I do every single day. It's just a part of my marketing. I don't spend a lot of money on marketing, in a magazine or this. I did do that earlier this year, and you know what? I've had 1-2 people reach out to me. Hey, we saw your ad. But on social media, it's a totally different story. So social media as a business owner is part of your daily operation. Like I said, whether that daily operation is batch content and scheduling, and it goes up, but then stories. You're in a house, people are nosy. People want to see, even if they're not ready to buy, people want to see the kind of homes that you're showing.
Right.
People want to see behind the scenes. People love behind the scenes stuff. That's why I do so much video at the studio. That's why when we were renovating, we did so much video. That's at home, anything. But it is, I'm going to tell you, it is part of your job as a business owner. Your social media is part of your job.
So you talked about scheduling, right? How do you schedule? Like, what would be, expand on that a bit more, because I know that right now you don't have the ability to say, create the post, okay, this is going to be Monday, schedule it for 9:30 on Monday morning on your personal profile.
Correct.
Right? So tell me more about what you mean by scheduling.
So there's apps out there that will do it for you. There's any number of them that you can, if you're a batcher, I don't know what the word would be for that. I can make up my own. If you're a batcher, you can use those apps and you can use some of those apps for your personal feed. So if you have a day when you're like totally inspired, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's like download city. Sit down, do it, do your posts, and find an app that you can just have them push it out there. It doesn't work with stories. You can't do it with stories, sorry. But as far as business goes, you can do that right on Facebook. You can schedule it right in there. And again, there's apps that will schedule it. Mine gets scheduled right to Instagram. They go right to Facebook. And I'm pretty sure I do have I'm not gonna lie, I do have somebody that helps me with some of my social media for the studio 3 days a week when I'm there, like 12 hours, and I just don't have time for that. And she's taught me a lot about the batch contenting, and it's funny when you sit down batch contenting, how much, and you're intentional about it, your brain starts firing. You know, your brain starts, oh, I should do this. Oh, I should talk about this. Yeah. So.
Gotcha. So, as we're looking at, okay, what should I actually create?
Okay.
Right? Is it just typing out words into a text, or is it, do I need to be on video because my goodness, I'm deathly afraid of being on camera, or my goodness, I'm not a graphic designer, so all of these beautiful pictures that you see in Instagram, how would you guide somebody with different options for what to post?
Okay, so let's start with start at the end of what you said, and the imagery. Video is great. Social media loves video. Social media loves live video. Thankfully for me, I'm much better live. If I click go and go, for some reason, I'm much better live. If I have to record something, oh, it's like done 20 times, and then I'm still not happy with it. So, but it loves live video. And you know what? If you mess up, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because again, you're relatable. Because if you're too good at what you do, unless you're, you know, certain kinds of businesses on commercials and that, but if you're too good at what you do, then people are like, well, I don't know if I can do that.
Right.
You know, even if they have their own business, and then it's an intimidation thing, and you don't want that either. You want to be able to build other businesses up as well in the process. At least that's my thing. So, and as far as imagery wise, in stills, in pictures, there's a lot of photographers out there that can help you. And in lots of different price ranges. And I'm going to give my secret of what I did in the very beginning. And this was years ago. And now, like, everybody's probably going to do it. I literally put a post out on social media. It says, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z in a photographer. I will help you build your book, and I will boost the crap out of you. I think I was a little more eloquent than that. On social media then. And I will make sure that you get the credit for all of it. And I had tons of photographers reach out to me, and I was bold enough to say, I want this for free. Because the ROI that I'm going to give you on that in the end, down the road, will be huge. Because building the following, I knew where I was going. I knew what I was doing. And over years, I mean, there's ones that I have from 3 years ago from the first gal that helped me out. And I'm still using those photos. I'm still tagging her in those photos. So now that's not for everybody. It took a lot of courage for me to actually do that.
Right.
But there's a lot of photographers out there, and there's always more and more. There's a lot that are trying to get started. There's a lot that will work with you. Or, you know what, there's a lot of apps that you can use. Set your phone up. One little tip, don't do this. Don't do this. All right? Keep your phone straight. Get a tripod. You can get a small tripod and take it anywhere with you. It'll fit in your handbag if you have one like mine. But take videos. Take some imagery while you're out. Have your best friend, have your husband take photos, and then doctor them up if you need to. I mean, I think we're past that part. At least I hope we're past that part of filters are bad.
Over-filtering is bad.
Over-filtering is bad.
When you look like a baby doll, right? It's like, now that's not real.
Right.
And I can see it, right? So,
yes.
I mean, those are some key considerations, but coloration of
lighting.
Yeah, is super important, that you can take a picture with maybe not the best lighting, and even just with a native camera app,
Yep.
you can adjust what those pictures like to enhance some of the colors, reduce some of the shadows, brighten things up, or darken things if it's overexposed. And there's a lot of things if you take a short amount of time, you know, to be able to learn how to adjust those photos.
Yeah.
And one thing that I found is they have some really valuable courses on a site called Skillshare, right? It's not sponsored by Skillshare. I tripped over it. I mean, a lot of people found those type of education sites during the last 12 months because it was necessity or boredom or just trying to find some way to be able to improve themselves and, you know, their operations. So that's one tip that I've used, and anything from video to voice and equipment and how to shoot, how to take pictures, photography. There's hundreds of little Skillshare courses, and it's like $15 a month or something like that.
And start small.
Yeah.
Literally start small. Don't think that you have to do everything and you have to all of a sudden have this beautiful Instagram and 20-30 stories a day and, you know, and this beautiful scroll feed on Facebook. You don't have to. It's not what it's about. So now I want to touch on something else that you asked about, and this is from the business side of things, and this is from the personal side of things, and depending on what business you're in, it's going to be, you know, it's both. So on your business page, even on your personal page, teach people something. You know, coming from a fitness perspective, and I don't do this enough, but I have one girl that I follow her stories because she shows a little bit of her workout every morning, and I'm like, oh, that's good. Oh, and you know, I've watched her so long that I'm like, I reached out to her not long ago. I'm like, girl, you're looking good. I'm like, you know, I've been watching you since September, and your body has changed so much. But teach people something. Give people something for free. All right, giving people something for free is just a thing of a good human. I mean, let's all just be good humans about it. And giving tips, giving, you know, maybe little trade secrets, just like on how, you know, like the skill sets or the skill. What did you call it?
Skillshare.
Skillshare. Yeah. I'll be looking at that. Give back to your people that are following you. Give back, because that shows a whole different level of business owner, an entirely different level of business owner. That shows a business owner that cares about their audience as well. And again, it all comes back to that, you know, know, like, and trust you.
And I think, you know, when it comes to even, there's a guy I'll follow on YouTube. He's a remodeler, so he does a lot of renovations. But he started a channel called DIY Renovision, right? And he's teaching people the right way to do the work themselves. So in that type of local scenario, if you have a following and you have that teaching concept implemented into your social media, you can be showing people how to do the services that you actually provide and help people. But literally they'll look at it and say, oh, that's all that goes into it? Yeah, I don't even want to go ahead and try that. You know, I trust you because you've shown me the details and you've shown me what's important, the right and wrong of how to do it. And that's just one example of how showing somebody how to do what it is that you provide as a service can generate more business for you.
Yeah, and I have a personal case in point. I have a client that renovates furniture. And I've seen so many of my friends, you know, whitewash their own furniture, you know, strip it and then do this and that. And I've seen her do it on some of her, you know, things online. And I'm like, I don't got time for that. It looks really good. I could probably do it. But you know what? If it doesn't turn out like that, I don't want. So I'm paying her to renovate my furniture, you know, and it all through that kind of thing right there. All through, she was giving back to the community, to her community. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to even try that here. I'm gonna pay you to do that instead, and that's business. That's, you know, personal trainers. You know, you can see them do stuff all day long. You can watch my videos on my stuff all day long, punching in that. But if you're just punching something at home, do you know you're doing it right? Would you like to, you know, try that, or would you like to come find out?
Right.
So yeah, it's the same thing.
Gotcha. So what would be the short list, right? If you wanted to say, okay, let me just stop what I've been doing and implement 6Fs, or what would be that, here's what, step by step, do this as a restart or starting from the beginning?
Number one, be yourself. Don't try to be anybody else. I like to say, stay in your own lane, and if you can't do that, make your own lane. Come out and make your own lane. Be you. Be interesting. Be interested in others. Post once a day. Post once a day on your business page. Post once a day on your personal page. You know, even if it's like, I don't know what to post. I don't know what to post. I am so grateful I woke up this morning. Literally, it can be started out that easy. On your business page, show people what you do. Show them before and afters if it's that kind of business. Add value to their lives in some way, and and go.
And don't hide the negatives.
No.
Right? If something doesn't work out, right? If you stub your toe, I mean, yes, that can be a funny story.
Did you see mine when I broke my toe? Is that what you're referring to?
No, not specifically. I was actually
bad.
I was actually thinking about the other day when Janet tagged the bed frame. But yeah, I mean, those particular things, because it's real life, right? It is what everybody goes through, and it makes you relatable because we all deal with the human condition. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And one of my biggest things is to remember that he who talks to the most people wins. I mean, that's just the way it is. It doesn't matter what it is. He who talks to the most people wins. Social media allows you to talk to so many people at one time. They might not be at one time, but they're going to be, you know, checking in. So it gives you a much broader range to do that. And so it opens up so many more opportunities for you. So those people that talk to the most people win.
I call it the one-to-many approach. I mean, that's one of the benefits that, you know, social networking, social media has given us, is the opportunity to speak to as many people as possible on their schedule, right? It's not a one-to-one, oh, well, we need to meet at this conference room so we can have this conversation. You can have the conversation, you know, at alternating times, and then other people can join into the conversation. So what do you stay away from?
Personally, I stay away from politics. And I know a lot of people use social media as a forum that they can put their views out there. And that's perfectly fine. I choose to completely stay away from politics on social media. I choose to stay away from negative on social media. I choose to stay away from venting on social media, because if you're venting on social media about something negative or something political, what you're going to attract is not the people that, I might get in trouble for this, is not the people that you're trying to attract into your business one way or another. And quite honestly, it doesn't look good for if you're a business owner, it doesn't look good for that. Now, freedom of speech, you know, anybody can say whatever they want. Yes. So I'm not saying that, but as a business owner, your Facebook page and your business page and your stories is all about marketing. It is all about marketing.
Yeah, what I think it can be summed up to say, what you focus on grows. So if it's a frustration and you're focusing on that frustration, then that's what you're inviting more into your experience.
And as far as what to post starting out. So we've all started businesses for probably one of three reasons. You have a passion for it in one way or another. You're just good at it. And you're like, well, I might as well do this because I'm really good at it. You inherited it. And then if you continue that business, you have a passion for it and you're really good at it probably, or you're really good at delegating. But share those things on your page. Share your passion for what you do. Let your passion, let your light shine from that, from what you do. And once you start doing that, when posting on your business page is going to be easy. You will have an endless amount of things to post.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that, as Janet and I have, we've taken steps and we continue down the road of leveraging video into our business. You get into this mode of, well, I've got to perform for the camera. And I've found that was never when I was most comfortable, is trying to convey a message in a certain way, and having it, and I don't think it's not a scripting versus unscripting perspective. It's a feeling, right? It's how you're being as you in front of the camera, and it's best served to, right? I can see it on your notes, is being the real you, but preparing yourself to be in that feeling before you step in front of the camera.
Can I give you a little hint of what to do for that? A little switch? If anybody,
sure. What works
most
for
people
you?
that's in my gym knows that I'm all about the little light switches in our head. So instead of putting the focus on, I don't know if I want to do this, I don't know if I'm comfortable in front of the camera, I don't know if I'm saying things right, think about it more from a serving your audience perspective. Okay, this might not be my thing, but how can, in my business, how can I serve my audience better? So long before I met you, I met Janet at an event, and I don't even think I actually met her, but she was on the other side of the room, and she stood up, all cute and everything, and I remember she had this little skirt on with these tights. It was so cute, but so right there, that wasn't what the memory was. The memory was she told about this virtual, what did you call it? The virtual
reality.
Yes, virtual house hunting, showing people, and I had never heard of anybody doing that so far, basically she told what her vision was and what you guys were doing at the moment, and how this could change how house hunting is done. And I was like, that's cool. And I remember that, and that's 3 or 4 years ago now. So to me, that was, how could she service, or how could you guys service your audience, your clients better? And that's when people are busy. So if you can narrow down the houses, that you actually want to walk into in your busy life. So that right there was one of those things. How can you serve your community instead of, God, I don't want to do this today. God, I don't know what to post. Okay, how can I serve my community? How can I serve my audience?
Yeah. I think it really takes some preparation work where you're literally focused in on, who am I going to be? Who am I being right now? In order to be in front of the camera. I mean, if you just had an argument with your dog, and that type of thing, and you're all frustrated and upset, go for a walk.
Unless you're going to put that on TikTok and add the dog talking. My husband was in the TikTok world last night, and it was all these dogs, the parents talking for the dogs. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
So you could use that.
For sure. So let's open up for questions from the group.
Yeah.
And then we can wrap things up and connect one-to-one.
Yep.
So
Ask people online.
does anybody have questions online? We can definitely answer those. We're monitoring the live chat as we're going through.
So what do you think are one of the biggest challenges in social media?
One of the biggest challenges on social media is getting comfortable with it. Consistency, I think, is the biggest challenge. Is why I hired somebody to help me out a couple of days a week with my business. A lot of people I've heard, they're like, well, I just see so much. I hate social media because I see so much negativity on social media. And then there's me. I'm like, I don't see any, But I think that's a choice to not see it. And so what I attract is not that. So yes, I'll see something every now and then, and I just keep scrolling. I think the biggest challenge for a lot of people, business owners and not business owners, is the negativity on social media. But that I feel personally, that's all in our control. So yeah, and the consistency, the reach, figuring out the reach, not knowing if you're doing enough, not knowing if you're doing too much. Some days I have a ton of stories. I'm like, is that too much? And I'm like, oh, screw it. It goes away in 24 hours. Doesn't matter.
Right? And you have the opportunity to, if you need to, you can tap to the right and bump through some of the extra
and you can delete some too.
As a viewer,
yeah,
for sure.
Not getting overwhelmed as a business owner, if you're just starting out, is probably another one of the biggest ones. And that's, I used to do extreme couponing. I'm full of stuff. And that was always my biggest thing to new people is start small. Start with one deal back then. Start with one post a day.
Mm-hmm. Steve.
So on Facebook specifically, how do you really consistently get to view the people you want and not view the others? I'll give you an example. I want to follow Janet and Chuck, and I've commented and shared, but then it's like they evaporate. I don't see them anymore. So is there a certain strategy that you should be doing to consistently get their content?
So the question was, how do you get the people that you want to follow to show up on a regular basis into your feed, right? And I think, one specific way is to, right, that person needs to be posting on a consistent basis for them to show up on a regular basis. So that aside, then you do have the opportunity to favorite, right? See, you can select the settings on your follow settings for that individual. You can see their post first, right? So whenever they make a post, it will prioritize, okay, Steve just logged in. We know that he wants to see X, Y, and Z people in his feed first. They typically are good with showing them first. But again, you need to stay engaged with that person on their particular post for that to continue working. At least that's been my feeling, right?
And the more people that you follow, fortunately, unfortunately, the algorithms, the AI starts to read that, and they'll show you more of that kind of content. So yeah, I have tons of fitness people that show up on mine all the time. I have tons of inspiration. I have tons of network marketing and social marketing people that show up continuously because that the algorithm knows I like that kind of thing. I feed off that kind of thing, so to speak. But yeah, being engaged, following is one of the best ways to do it. Yeah. Plus, it makes us feel good. I'm not gonna lie. So,
right.
When you see, I have 500 people follow me. Wow. So. Yeah.
And some people, and I haven't really taken this approach to my social media, but they can follow you and not add you as a friend.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Which is okay. Right. Because somebody that may have an influence out there, they may, on their personal profile, they're booked up. There's no more room at the end. So you can follow that person, still see what it is, but you're not specifically friends.
Right? Yes. That brings me to something that is super important as a business owner. Your personal profile, and not everybody's gonna like this, your personal profile needs to be public. Now, with that being said, there's always some instances of where, but I cannot do that because of X, Y, and Z. That is abuse, this kind of, all kinds of things. But on the whole, your profile needs to be public. And now some people are like, I don't want people to see this, that, and the other. Then don't post about it. Seriously, don't post about it. That literally is the thing. If you're a business owner, that it does need to be, because otherwise, if you're not public, people don't know who you are.
Yeah,
my opinion.
Do you set about spending like an hour every day on social media? Because as you were mentioning, like, it's definitely easy to, you pull it up and you're like, I'm gonna post, and then 2 hours later you're like, I
didn't even post.
Right, we get so caught up. But you answered part of my question earlier, but so are you saying, like, every day you're like, okay, you schedule yourself out, you're gonna set a certain amount of time? Like I'm going to set this hour, I'm going to post on social media, or do you kind of roll with it because things can happen, especially on your personal profile? Obviously, there might be things throughout the day that maybe pop up you want to post, but for the most part, do you schedule that into your day?
So I know a lot of people that do schedule that into their day. Mine is a lot of pop-up. And a really good thing to do is what you're going to post in a day. Don't make it on social media. Make it in your notes section on your phone or your computer or something. And then when you're done with that, then there's less squirrel moments that might, that might happen. The likelihood of that happening is less. I know for me, when I go on, sometimes I get squirreled. Sometimes I just want to go on. I just want to decompress a little and I scroll. But yes, I'm super intentional that I have certain things throughout the day that I want to do that I make sure get done on my social media from a marketing perspective. Yeah. So, but yeah, if you have the opportunity to just to schedule that hour, then that's great. I don't always have the opportunity to specifically do that.
Yeah, it can help with your intention to do the work off of the platform.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, I've got 15 minutes to implement and execute this particular idea.
Yeah.
And this post, so that way you don't fall into the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And I think every single one of us have done it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no think about it. And a little tip or a little hack before you post yours. So make your post and everything. And then before you actually post your post, go to 5 people's pages that you want, that maybe they're your dream clients, maybe they're your dream friends, maybe they're your dream, whatever, maybe they are your friends, and comment on their posts, especially if it's a business thing, and who you want to attract. And because then when you post, more than likely, they're going to see your post, but do it first. So be intentional about that from a business owner perspective, and go from there.
And when you make those types of posts, have them be more of a contribution than just cool or thumbs up, or because that type of engagement, you want it to be something that can actually inspire that person to read it.
And they paid attention to me.
Yeah.
Everybody, I don't care who you are. Everybody loves that. Everybody loves a little bit of attention. Everybody loves a little bit of recognition. We're humans. Even if somebody says, I don't want anybody to look at my stuff, then don't post.
Yeah.
But then, and I'm sorry, we're humans. It's a love thing. We all crave that in some way, shape, or form.
Basic need.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Sure is.
Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Have fun. Have fun with it. It really is. And some days it might not feel like fun. Do it anyway. Your kids need fed. Even when you don't feel like it, you do it anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you teach them how to do it. But do it from a business perspective. Do it anyway. Save things in your phone that you see. Engagement posts as a business, and depending on what kind of business you are, engagement posts on your business page are great. And engagement posts on your personal page are amazing. Literally, I put a post up the other day, and I didn't really have time. I had a 12-hour day, and I put up, you can get rid of one thing. What is it? And it was like donuts. That was my pick. Bacon.
We've got 2 boxes.
I know. Donuts, bacon, sushi, something else. There was like 4 to 6 things. And I think there's like closing in on like 80, 90 comments on it of what people like that kind of stuff. People like to be asked questions. So save some of that kind of stuff for the days you're like, I'm totally not inspired to put anything on here. I don't want to talk to anybody, because it happens to all of us. And then put that up. But then your next post that you do post should be more business oriented, even if it's on your personal page in some way, shape, or form. Like later on today, check my personal page and you'll understand what I'm talking about. I have that huge engagement post that was not purposeful. It was just, oh, this is fun, put this up. And but of course, I'm going to use the reach that I acquired with it.
Yeah. And I think it's also important not to be discouraged by if you've right? It's not a measure of your worth based on how many likes or hearts that you have on a social media post, nor, okay, if you have an engagement post and you only get maybe 1 or 2 comments and it's not what you had been hoping for, don't vest all of your worth into the reactions and engagement into social media. It's very, very important.
Yeah, because the algorithm just might not have pushed you out to anybody, and it just might not have touched. And yeah, and that again, that all comes back to, am I doing this for me and for my gratification and what I need, or am I doing it to serve my audience, in one way or another?
Yeah.
All right. So you want to talk about your business and how to contact you, and then Chuck, can you wrap it up with the Candy Factory sponsor again?
Yep, absolutely. So thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule to share with us. If somebody wanted to connect with you directly, maybe learn more about what it is, Envision Train, and some of the other, benefits that you have to people, what are they, and how can they get in touch with you?
So Envision Train Fitness has both an Instagram and a Facebook page, both named Envision Train Fitness. You can look me up there. You can ask questions through the messenger there. You can look up Teresa P. Fackler on social media. I'll show up as that on Facebook. Instagram is Fit Girl Freedom Journey, which I guess if you search my name, you'll still come up with my name. You can email at envisiontrainfitness@gmail.com. What we do a lot of hitting. So we do a lot of target hitting. No, there's no contact whatsoever in what we do, but it just helps you. If you are bored with the treadmill, if you are bored with the gym, so to speak, come see me. I have an absolutely amazing workout that is like nothing else. You will work all your muscles from your head to your toes. 1 hour, leave feeling so much more empowered, feeling like, wow, where'd that hour go? Man, I'm tired. Where'd that hour go? That was fun.
It's the next day that gets
or 2 days later. And every single workout is different. I get bored very easily. So every single workout is different. It's personalized to you. Even in the class format, we have 7 classes a week. It is personalized to the person. There may be stations around the room, bag work, even focus mitts, if you know what that is. But as trainers, we focus, or we customize to each and every person. So even if there's 13 people in a class and you have something, man, my knee, I just can't do that. It's okay. We have something else for you to do. So we will help you find what fitness looks like for you now at any age and at any stage, anywhere from, teenager to in your 70s and your 80s. If you look across our page, you're going to see the entire gamut. Real people. So if you feel like I don't know if this is the proper word, but I'm going to say it. If you feel like a misfit at the gym, like you don't know where you fit in, you're going to fit in with us. So come and see us. We will help you. We can help you reach your goals and have fun.
Yeah, and it's not always high contact. I mean, it's there's high intensity interval training. There's cardio work. You've got weights at the gym, as well as bands, and
we have it all. We have all the toys.
Pull-ups. Yeah,
we have all the toys in a more cozy personal setting, in a studio setting.
Yeah. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and we'll put some of the links into the live posts here as well. But thank you again.
Thank you
very much.
It's fun.
And again, we're here at the Candy Factory downtown in Lancaster at 342 North Queen Street, behind, I guess it's in the warehouse in the back, which is right next to Building Character, co-working space, also social clubs. There is a lot going on here at the Candy Factory. It is continuing to evolve as the business environment has continued to change, especially over the last 18 months. So definitely go to candyissweet.com or check out the Candy Factory business page on Facebook. And thank you very much. We're going to go. We have a small group of about 7-8 people here. We're going to do some face-to-face networking. But again, we are reconnecting as Rockstars. And if you have an interest in speaking to a group of other local business owners. This is Success Seminars by Rockstars for Rockstars. Reach out to me, Chuck Sierk, and thank you very much.
Don't shut it off yet. Hold on. So, because of just what I do, Chuck, you have to turn around.
I have to turn around.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's really close. Yes. All right. So, we get everybody in. Oh, you have to come over here.
I'll come over here.
I would say, Janet, you're not in.
Am I in?
Yep, you are. Ready? 3, 2, 1. All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
I mean, and broadcast.
Yep.